So the same thing kind of always happens when a new phone is announced. The media gets the device ahead of time, maybe a couple days, a couple weeks if we're lucky, and we get to use it while we're preparing our review. Then the date and time of the press embargo arrives, the embargo lifts, everybody posts their review at once, and it is a giant, big frenzy of activity. There's commenters going nuts and defenders and attackers, and it's just a huge explosion for about a day. And then everything disappears. I mean, sure, there's follow-up coverage and stuff as people find bugs, people have other stuff to say about the devices, they wear them in over the course of a day or so, but really, nobody ever goes back and revisits these devices after that initial blast of review to see how they feel after a couple weeks.
So let's do something about it. Let's look at a device several months after its release when it's no longer shiny and new. I'm Brandon Miniman from PocketNow.com, and this is the new iPad, and this is episode 3 of After the Buzz. It was back when I received the first iPad that I immediately began dreaming of the new iPad. That is, an iPad with a higher resolution display. You see, the iPad became so intertwined with my life that it actually caused me eye strain. I'd use it to check email, read the Wall Street Journal, browse the web, watch videos, and so much more. For me, the iPad as a third device between smartphone and laptop or desktop fulfilled my needs for a more casual computing experience. I don't mean this to sound corny, but the iPad changed my life and allowed me to get more work done in more places. Subsequently, all of this time in front of the original iPad, which amounted to several hours per day, hurt my eyes because of the low resolution display. Text was fuzzy. The same was true on the iPad 2, text looks fuzzy. Then the iPad 3 was announced with an insane resolution of 2048 by 1536, a resolution higher than the 24-inch monitor I use for work. Was it the end of my eye strain? Well, let's talk about hardware first. In a rare move that defies Apple's ongoing design philosophy of thinner and lighter, the new iPad is thicker and heavier than its predecessors to allow for a bigger battery. Does this matter? Absolutely. In fact, the new iPad is awkward to hold because of its weight and thickness. Using the smart cover to prop the device on a table does help, but when you're reading in a bed or while leaning back, there's nothing to rest the smart cover on. You're just holding it in the air. As with dirt and fingerprints, the new iPad is resistant to both thanks to the materials used. Just be sure not to drop your iPad on a hard surface, as it's likely to crack the display. In fact, in our official PocketNow drop test, we found the new iPad to be particularly front-heavy, so it's likely to land on the glass should you drop it accidentally. You're definitely going to want to get a case with the new iPad. Inside, the new iPad has a beefier processor, the A5X, with quad-core graphics and a dual-core CPU. It would seem that the new GPU is designed to push all 3.1 million pixels and allow the new iPad to provide a snappy experience. But in reality, it's gaming that's highly impressive if you're playing a title optimized for the new Retina display. As you can see here, textures are console quality and frame rates are very high. Beyond gaming, there's little to no difference between the iPad 2 and new iPad in terms of day-to-day performance, which is really disappointing. Apps open a little bit faster and web pages come in a little bit more swiftly, but only by a very small margin. Let's talk about apps. By now, we're happy to report that most popular apps have been optimized for the Retina display, which is a great thing, because apps that aren't updated look grainy, that is, they look how they would look on the iPad 2 or iPad 1. Reading text on the new iPad is an absolute joy. Words look printed on the page. Reading digital magazines, newspapers, and websites on the new iPad is literally a revolutionary experience. The clarity of the display is at times indistinguishable from the quality you would get with print publications. This is how tablet computing should be, and my eye strain is gone, I'm happy to report, even after hours of reading on the new iPad. Also, we're really loving how iPhone apps look much better on the iPad, even when blown up at double size, thanks to the new iPad taking advantage of the 960 by 640 resolution iPhone apps instead of the 480 by 320 resolution that we saw for blown up apps on the iPad 2 and iPad 1. We're loving the LTE connectivity on the new iPad. I opted for the Verizon version, not only because Verizon's LTE network is more ubiquitous than AT&T's, but because the Verizon LTE iPad has the unique ability to work on AT&T's 3G network if you pop in an AT&T micro SIM. We also love how easy it is to buy data on the iPad. No contracts here, just input your credit card information in the cellular data setting and you're ready to go. If you're trying to choose between the Wi-Fi and 4G version of the iPad, we encourage you to spring for the 4G version, even if you don't think you need it right away. You'll be glad you have it for when you do need it, and it will help to increase your resale value. Now onto battery life. Apple promised unchanged battery life between the iPad 2 and the new iPad, and they were right. On average, I charge my iPad every 5 to 7 days, and that's after about 1 to 2 hours of usage per day. Remarkably, over LTE, battery life seems to decrease at the same rate as when over Wi-Fi. Now, because the iPad has such a large battery, it takes much longer to charge, up to 7 hours to be exact. This has changed my usage a bit, whereas before I'd take a break from using the iPad and stick it on the charger to get a good 40 to 50% charge. With the new iPad, an hour isn't enough to get much above the 15 or 20% mark. I try to charge the new iPad at night so I can get a full 100% power up. We can say that with confidence, now 3 months after its release and after the buzz has worn off, that the new iPad is the best tablet money can buy right now. It's got the apps, it's got the display, and while it's not the thinnest or lightest tablet nor the most customizable, you'll want to look to Android for that, it's unparalleled in its ability to offer the most well-rounded user experience. And with iOS 6 coming up, iPad buyers can be confident that there's a fair amount of new and exciting stuff coming to the iPad in just a few months. It's just a bit disappointing that iOS 6 has the same look and feel as it has had for years now, with rows and rows and rows and rows of icons. This has been Brandon Miniman with PocketNow.com. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you have any comments about using the iPad after several months, please leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and that's it for now.